What's going on, everybody at CSGO Station? My name is Frito, here with another video. This time I'm going to break down one of the most crucial aspects of Counter-Strike to understand: first shot inaccuracy. In other terms, what you see is not what you get, because there's all sorts of reasons why putting your pixel crosshair on an opponent's head won't result in a headshot. I've been wanting to cover this topic for a while, but on Reddit today I noticed that some people were discussing Steel's hilarious missed shot on an immobile player looking the other direction.
I fucking shot! Fuck this game!
Obviously, this clip looks infuriating, but if we break it down a little bit closer, I think we can come to the truth and use it as a learning opportunity. The closest thing I could get to replicate that shot was aiming a little bit to the right of where Steel went. And it is true that you can miss the hitbox because the majority of where you need to connect your shot is on the counter-terrorist's face. And if the bullet slightly hits to the backside of his head, then it won't register. But I don't even think that's the case of what happened to Steel. I can't foresee in any way that the game decided that Steel was completely immobile when he shot. I know it looks like he fully stopped, but I think there was a little bit of momentum in his character still, which caused his accuracy to go to the more shift-walking accuracy rather than the perfect counter-strafe accuracy. If you look closely, you can see the bullet hitting the player's shoulder and blood splattering, when the rest of us kind of assumed that it should have went right on his head. You may not have realized how much moving just a little bit can throw off your aim in this game. If you don't completely stop, you won't be accurate at all. But more interesting is the first bullet inaccuracy, which people thought was at fault for his death here. But I don't think that's the case, because even if we line up this exact shot at further distance, it's pretty hard to find a way where you aim perfectly at the center of his head and the bullet misses. The only way that would be the case is at ranges where the spread of your first shot is bigger than the head hitbox that you're aiming at. That's much more obvious at longer ranges, which is why the whole argument about first shot inaccuracy even comes up at all. Because these longer range AR engagements aren't as skillful as you think, because there is quite a bit of RNG at these ranges. Ranges that you would assume an AR would be pretty good at handling. They just are inaccurate at. Even if you're carefully tapping away at your opponent's head at range, you can't reliably get a hit. Look carefully at these circles, because that's the extent of the range of where the hit scan could go. Anywhere within that circle, the bullet could land. So when your opponent's head is smaller than that potential circle, there's physically not a way for you to guarantee a hit if you aim perfectly. My opinion on this mechanic is that I think the first shot should be more accurate, and I don't care what the spread is when you're spraying. We all understand that there's a set recoil pattern, there's a bit of spread to that, so a little bit of luck when you're spraying and praying. But I would like players who have insane pixel aim to be rewarded at range, and currently they're not. There's certain ranges in Counter-Strike right now where there's a complete RNG fest, and there is absolutely no way to reliably always get tap headshots to the head even if you're aiming perfectly. And that's something that you have to master about the game. You should know that the distance of your engagement might be too much for your AR to handle, and it may be more important to even burst at that range to just have a chance at hitting that headshot, because a perfect tap might not connect. What you always have to keep in mind is think about the potential spread of the weapon you're using and the size of the head hitbox you're aiming at. So at these medium ranges and anything further than that, it helps me to have this big gap in the middle of my crosshair, because I know that's the reliable spread of the weapon, so I can still aim perfectly, but the game only allows you to aim so perfectly. Worse yet, you could argue about this mechanic is that you can miss and be multiple pixels off the target you're aiming at and still hit it, just based upon the RNG aspect of the game, because you don't know where those shots are going. You don't have to be perfect, but you also can't be perfect. It simultaneously lowers the skill ceiling for the top tier pros who could theoretically always hit the center pixel of their monitor, but it also sometimes is going to award a kill to a player who cannot get those kills, and just based on the law of averages will be awarded a kill at that range just because he's generally in the right vicinity of the head. So ultimately at these ranges in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, there's only so much mastery you can have at these ranged engagements, and you may decide that it's more effective for the weapon you're using to burst at the head, just so you have multiple shots to potentially put down range, because a one tap may not be reliable enough, and it may take you 3, 4, 5 shots in order to even connect when you're aiming perfectly. It's something that I've come to grips with myself when trying to improve my own aim. Ultimately, you can only be as effective in the game as your weapon can be. So always keep that in mind. When you're spraying at range, when you're tapping at range, understand what the likelihood of the game allowing you to hit those shots, even if you don't miss, is before you even consider taking those engagements, because that's how the game is requiring you to play. I would prefer it to be a bit different so that more skilled players can take more ranged engagements and reliably win them with perfect tapping mechanics. But right now, it's a little bit more burst and spray heavy because you can't reliably get those tapped. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and it was useful to you. If that was the case, hit the like button and share it. Until next time, it's been Frito. I'll catch you guys later.